Hey guys, welcome back to Professional Weekenders YouTube channel. Today we're here at home, but we just returned from our Boston trip and we want to talk about the 10 best things to do when you're in Boston, as well as a bonus tip of how to get around when you're there. And if you want to know, then you're in the right place. Make sure you stick around, check it out, hit that subscribe button, and let's go.
Let's go. All right, y'all, like we said, we just got back from a 3-night, 4-day trip to Boston. We had a really great time. We did all the things. So with this video, we are going to consolidate those things that we did and tell y'all some tips and tricks about those things that about the places where we visited and the things that we did when we were there.
So the very first thing that you have to do when you're in Boston, the quintessential Boston thing, is you must visit the Freedom Trail. So this is an amazing trek through American history. You get to visit a lot of historic sites from the Revolutionary War. There are 16 stops along the way, and if you go back and you watch the video that we did, there was also a bonus stop that's not on the official Freedom Trail that you would only know about if you watched our video, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. With the Freedom Trail, you can see all kinds of historic sites, such as Paul Revere's house, the Old North Church, where he famously did his midnight ride and hung the lanterns to tell the colonists that the British were coming. Get to see the site of the Boston Massacre, the Battle of Bunker Hill, all kinds of really neat historic stuff, so definitely highly recommend checking that out.
So number 2 on the list was probably one of my favorite things, but that did not involve animals, and that was the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museums tour, because you got to commit crimes, you guys, like legit crimes, but not for 2024. So anyway, with that, highly recommend checking that out. It is a immersive experience, and you get to do some rabble rousing, and then you actually get to throw tea into the harbor, which I thought was pretty cool. And then with that, you also get to check out the gift shop, which in our exclusive hot take coming at you live on our channel has the most affordable souvenirs in all of Boston that we found. And
we'll link more in-depth videos to all these attractions down below too, so if you want more details on any one of these topics, definitely make sure you check the description so you can check out those videos. Next up, the thing that we did was we viewed Boston by visiting View Boston. So this is basically, it's a high-rise observation tower on the top of Prudential Tower right in the middle of the city. It's a great place to get an overview of the land and see all the historic sites. You can see everything from up there, as well as you get a pretty good view of MIT's right across the river. You can see Fenway Park where the Red Sox play. You can see Boston Commons. So make sure that you watch the video down below so that way you can get tips and tricks on when's the best time to go.
Number 4 on the list of things that we did in Boston was we checked out the bar that was themed after Cheers, right? So everyone knows the 1980s, 1990s sitcom, right? In my opinion, one of the best sitcoms that, I guess, was it a sitcom?
Yeah. I don't know if everybody knows it, if you're old enough, if you're old.
Everyone knows your name when you're at Cheers. So, all right. So with that being said, guys, we had a really cool time there. We got to see the bar where they shot some of the episodes. Lewis completed a burger challenge when we were there. So all in all, a pretty cool time. Recommend probably going a little bit earlier in the day because it just got a little bit packed later in the evening. But it's right across the street from Boston Commons. So yeah, definitely recommend checking that out. And surprisingly, the food is pretty affordable.
Next up, no trip to a new city would not be complete without getting out on the water and seeing the city from the water. So what we did was we took a 1-hour sightseeing Boston Harbor cruise. This was really fantastic. Love getting out on the water, love being on boats. You get a different perspective of the city where you're not quite so immersed in the city, but you can step back and see it from a bit further away. And it was a narrated cruise, so it was really fantastic. We learned a lot about history, a lot about how Boston operates, a lot about modern day events as well. And it was just really educational and informative, so really recommend that one. Really enjoyed it.
Go check out that video because there's a lot of cool things we learned about Boston. So next up on the list, we went to the New England Aquarium, again, right on the harbor. A super cool place to check out. A lot of really awesome animals were in there. We got to see some seals, we got to see some turtles, we got to see an octopus. Had a really great time.
Yeah, there was an electric eel, was pretty neat.
Yeah, that guy was pretty cool.
And I thought it was really cool too that the entire aquarium was kind of focused and centered around this one gigantic cylindrical aquarium that has a ramp that goes all the way around it. So you get to see all the different sea life that's happening on different levels and follow along with the sea turtle as it chases you up the ramp. It's a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. You caused a traffic jam.
Next up on the list, I would say visit the Museum of Science in Boston. It's a lot of fun, especially if you have a family. There's lots of interactive exhibits. You could definitely spend all day there learning about science and trying different experiments and running around, you know, kids and adults alike. There's just so much to interact with and do and see. A really great time there.
Yeah, I liked it when we were able to build our satellites and see if they actually could fly. So I highly recommend that one too.
We had a good competition with that one.
And we both lost. Spoiler alert.
Did we lose or did the space program lose?
I think this, yeah, NASA definitely would not have hired us. So.
Their loss.
Yeah. And coming out with number 8 on the list is the Franklin Park Zoo. So with that, we hung out at the zoo for a good half a day. I definitely enjoyed that. There were, we saw some giraffes, we saw a lion, we saw some beautiful peacocks. Definitely a cool place to go and hang out. It is an older zoo and it's a little bit outside of the main city center, but definitely worth the trek. Yeah, so it was a part of our city pass and we definitely enjoyed hanging out. But hot take, the zoo is sort of affordable to get in, but also the gift shop is a little expensive. So bring your credit card.
Yeah, lots of neat animals there, zebras. We got to go inside the bird aviary. So this girl's all about anything with animals, and the zoo did not disappoint.
Nope.
Next up on the list is the USS Constitution. Unfortunately, this is a national park, so we were unable to film there, so we did not do a video about it, but definitely recommend that you stop by and check it out for yourself. Admission is free. It's a National Historic Landmark. It's the oldest active serving military ship in the world in existence. It's an old wooden ship. They call it Old Ironsides, but it's actually made of wood. And it served really important roles in the War of 1812 and a couple wars there afterwards. So really neat to check that out and see how the soldiers how the sailors used to live back in those days, and how, you know, the cannons that they would fire. And, you know, it's one of the greatest and most historic warships of all time. So definitely recommend checking that one out.
Yeah, and apparently it's still active, and it still floats and it still drives, right? So they take it out on 4th of July every year. And apparently you can be a part of the lottery to be on that boat on 4th of July. I bet that is a banger of a time. But banger.
Yeah.
No, okay, all right. And number 10 on the list is checking out the universities that are in the area. So our tour guide told us that the river that flows through Boston to the harbor is the most educated river in all of the world, because it has MIT, it's got Harvard on it, and it's got a couple other universities as well. So definitely check out MIT or Harvard if you have some time.
Yeah, unfortunately we ran out of time to see these for ourselves, but we did get some shots of MIT when we were up doing View Boston. Yeah. And it was still really neat to see, you know, this is one of the most historic campuses in all of North America. So much technology comes out of MIT, and so much, you know,
smarts,
brain power, words come out of Harvard. You know, a lot of lawyers, I guess, a lot of politicians.
Well, I think Harvard's more than just law school. There's like Harvard Medical College, there's Harvard Business School.
But is there really?
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, either way, it is pretty neat to see, and they of course they have absolutely beautiful campuses. So if you find yourself with some extra time, take a stroll through those campuses and maybe pick yourself up a t-shirt. Maybe you can convince everybody that you went to Harvard.
So with that, we have a couple of tips and tricks of how to get around Boston and how to maximize not only your time, but also your pocketbook, right? So with that, we purchased City Pass, and the City Pass in Boston was $89? So
$79.
Was $79 per person. And with that, there were 4 attractions, of which 2 were already picked for you, and then you could pick the other 2. So the 2 that were already chosen for us was the Science Museum and the Aquarium, and then we also elected to pick the View Boston and Harbor Cruise.
Yeah.
And the Harbor Cruise. We paid for the zoo out of pocket.
Yeah, and there was a 4th attraction there. I don't remember what it was though.
I don't remember either.
This is not a sponsored thing from City Pass. We paid for this out of our own pocket, and you know, it's just something that we typically do when we go visit a newer, larger city, because it does offer such great value. So if you, like I said, if you're planning on visiting at least 2 of those attractions, you know, maybe sometimes 3 depending on the cost, you basically get 1, 1.5, or 2 of those attractions for free, included in the City Pass. So it's just a really great value, and we just want to let you know about different tips and tricks to save money, and that's why we pass it on. Not because it's sponsored; it's not sponsored at all.
Yep. Also, we found Boston to be a very, not only a very walkable city, but also a city that has really good public transit. So obviously here in the U.S., we are a very car culture, so this might be news to you, but with that, they have the subway system, they have a really great bus system, so definitely check out Google Maps to find your most efficient route to get there, as well as, you know, Lewis is trying to talk me into getting on those like Lime scooters and those bikes, and No, thank you. But we have a whole video about that too down below where you guys can check out how to get around Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to get around Boston by public transportation, they have this thing called the Charlie card. Basically, you can either buy one and put a store value on there and then use that as you go, or what we found more efficient is if you're only going to be there for 1 day, they have a 1-day pass, or if you're going to be there for 3 days to 7 days, then you can get the 7-day pass. We elected for the 7-day pass that we used over the course of 4 days. It was $22.50 per person, and that gave us unlimited access to public transportation all across Boston for the length of our stay. So that includes, you could do light rail, you could do the Boston T, which is their metro/subway. You can ride any of the buses. And there's also one ferry that you can take as well to get yourself over to the USS Constitution. In addition to Charlie card, other ways that we got around while we're there is obviously a lot of walking. Boston's a very walkable city. It looks a lot bigger on the map than it really is. As well as, you can use Uber and Lyft. And of course, every major city now has those little Lime scooters, the Bird scooters, so that's an option as well.
No, thank you. Hard pass.
When we were in Boston, we stayed at the Battery Wharf Hotel. That's in the part that they call Little Italy. It's near Hanover Street. There's tons of amazing Italian restaurants in that area. And of course, when you're walking around Boston, you can't not miss it. But everybody's walking around with these little boxes that say Mike's Pastries on it.
Yeah.
You got to stop by Mike's Pastries. There's one on Hanover Street, super easy to get to. And they are famous for their cannolis, which are amazing.
They are huge too.
Huge. They're like $7 a piece, but they are like
worth
massive. They're like the size of Chipotle burritos down here.
Right.
But yeah, those are definitely amazing. And no trip to Boston would be complete without stopping at Mike's Pastries.
So fun fact about Mike's Pastries, it's cash only. So make sure you bring your cash because they will not take credit card, debit card, Apple Pay, Venmo, any of that.
All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this video. So let us know in the comments below, what are your must-see attractions in Boston? We'd love to hear about it. And while you're down there in the comments, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. That helps out a lot, and we really appreciate that as well. With that being said, we're out of here, and we'll see you next weekend.
Bye. Means you got the whole video that you working. If
you want to know, then you're in the right place. Make sure you stick around, check it out, hit that subscribe button, and let's go.
Let's go. You gotta pick a new hat. You look like a Beastie Boy and I hate it.
I like this hat.
I'm sorry. You look like you're about to break into a verse. It's like flared out. It's so weird. I'm sorry. That hat just makes you look like a Beastie Boy.
What's wrong with that?
You're not a Beastie Boy.
The Boston Tea Party, the Battle of Bunker Hill, all kinds of really neat historic places and things with great significance to this country. And it's a great...
Yeah. Are you sure the Boston Tea Party was part of that? I think they planned the Boston Tea Party, but the harbor wasn't actually on the... Because I was on the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so with the Freedom Trail, you get to see all kinds of historic...
So we chose... So the two that were already picked for us was the Science Museum, the... What's in the Harbor Cruise? The aquarium?
Yeah, the aquarium.
Yeah. Boston Commons.
Well, where's the place where the Red Sox play?
Fenway Park?
Yeah. Interact with and...
Do. See?
Yeah.
And number 4 on the list is... stairs. All right, I'll cut that part out.